Bonsoir, ça marche? Bienvenue, je m'appelle Bénédicte Alliot, je suis la directrice de la Cité internationale des arts. Et bien, toutes les équipes de la Cité vous souhaitent la bienvenue et pour cette soirée spéciale, une soirée qui est chère à notre cœur, qu'on voulait absolument faire en sorte de pouvoir partager avec vous un petit moment vénitien et un grand moment de partage, un grand moment collectif aussi, de voyage qui nous mène jusqu'à Venise. Et là, c'est le voyage retour. Laure Prouveau, Martha Kirzenbaum, bonsoir. Je voulais aussi vous dire qu'on va sans doute faire cette soirée plutôt en anglais. Donc, I'm going to switch into English. Et il y aura de temps en temps des voyages aussi vers le français, mais de manière ponctuelle et de manière spontanée. On est sur un format très libre. So welcome to you all to Cité Internationale des Arts. It's a pleasure for us to be able to host tonight Laure and Martha and the guests that were part of the project. And we'll have, there's going to be discussions also with you, and then obviously further discussions outside with a drink. And then I switch into French, because when you talk about drinks, you also talk in French, avec le verre de l'amitié. Bienvenue, merci à tous d'être là. Et je vais demander à Martha, qui est commissaire du pavillon français, qui a accompagné Laure toute cette dernière année, Martha qui est en résidence à la Cité internationale des arts. Et c'est un vrai plaisir parce que ça nous a donné an insight into this beautiful work. Merci à vous d'être là.
So I'm going to speak in English. Thank you so much, Bénédicte. Thank you to Vincent, to everybody at Cité des Arts to allow me to stay in such a beautiful space in Montmartre. And thank you to Laure for having taken us on such a magical journey to the deep sea blue. Tonight we are going to talk about the project and to talk about liquid collaborations. The idea was to emphasize on how we worked with other people for this project, how we invited performers, musicians, and different type of people all along our journey from the suburbs of Paris to Venice. So Laure, please. Laure Prouveau. We have Nicolas, who is one of the dancers and the characters of the film. Voilà. La Faunda, a musician and performer who composed part of the soundtrack. And today's talk, is going to be moderated by Ingrid Lukegard. Thank you so much, Ingrid, for being here with us. That's the French pavilion. Everyone's changing chairs. That's maybe mics for everybody. So I leave the mic to Ingrid. She's the master of ceremony tonight.
I've got this one.
On va vous raconter des salades.
Hello everyone, thank you for being with us. I wanted to start this discussion about collaboration. I wanted to start this discussion about collaboration by taking a sentence you told me, Laure, when I was interviewing you about the French pavilion. And you told me that the road was always more important than the arrival, which is a sentence that can be interpreted in many ways. Because, of course, the movie is a 20-minute long road trip that has been assembled from footages that you said were many hours long. And it is a very sensitive film indeed. It is very sensorial, it is immediate, it is something that you perceive like a movie that you would see on a big screen. It is very perceptual. But at the same time, I feel you're always playing with deception and showing us that something has taken part outside of the movie that we don't really know about, and this expectation might be why this movie is staying so long with us. So I wanted maybe you to tell me how you got the idea to do this movie for this specific context, and why it was important to show that maybe the work that you put in the pavilion was only a tiny fragment of a bigger adventure that you wanted to show to us.
Hello everyone. So I might tell you a few salads tonight, but I'll try to respond to this first question. Thank you so much for doing this tonight. I think, how did it come? I think the big thing was, what do we represent? Who am I to do this, and where are we going? Am I representing a vision of a place, of a country, of a history, so that became straight away. First, I can't do this on my own. You know, it was about meeting people, exchanging, being, avoir des personnages qui rentrent dans l'histoire, avoir tout ça. C'était and also, but the fact that even for an artist, having the whole journey towards a piece, or the whole journey to make something is as fascinating. And sometimes it doesn't get you anywhere. It's not clear, or it's not smart, or it's not there yet. But I think the whole exchange you have with people on the way, or the person who helps you with the light, turning on the light and off to get ready for a show or something, and all these moments are as important for me in some ways. And I think that was a bit the start of the piece. But it was also this idea of touching. You know, we started from the octopus touch, like this tentacle, like really feeling with your tentacles, like being as the brain of an octopus is in its tentacle. It's very immediate, so you feel as you go, you touch, and you try to translate that feeling. So that was kind of a start, and then we started in Nanterre, where we met Nicolas there, and then we couldn't lose each other. It's been now almost a year now, we together.
So in the movie there are 12 different characters that you call personnages in French. I wanted also, like, just as an introduction, maybe to see a first video clip where we see this group taking place really at the beginning of the movie, where we see this constitution that is going to go on a trip afterwards.
Yeah, so this is where we all met in Nanterre. You sing the film in 10 seconds.
Could we maybe... On peut baisser la lumière, maestro, dans le fond? Ah, ça... Attendez, on va y arriver. Voilà, c'est le départ. Merci, on se pousse.
Parfois, j'ai l'impression d'être un énorme pigeon en béton qui ne peut plus bouger.
Fuck! I was born to be here.
Maintenant on se casse en fait.
Yeah, let's go. Even if it costs us the eyes of our head.
On va se multiplier, faire des enfants. En 100 ans, on s'est déjà multiplié 6 fois. Là, on accélère la cadence. Ah, elle est mixte. I'm happy, I am free.
We never tried to sleep. My heart in the blue. My arms with blue. I am me, you are you. You are me, so pardon. Join the queue, join the queue. No shampoo, so pardon, so pardon, so pardon. From the depth of my heart to the depth of the sea. From high the clouds.
Moi, je serai une onde électromagnétique. Toi, tu seras la Wi-Fi. Et toi, tu seras la mer.
Pourquoi tu partais?
Down there in this tunnel, we will hide from the fucking farting cats that are warming our planet.
Et voilà.
I think this extract is actually very representative of the conception of the group and the fragments that is present in the movie. We see that the group is at the same time a whole that is going to be constituted by the road they are going to take together, but it is also made up by several individual characters who all bring their own expertise. So now I want to ask a question to two of those characters. Maybe you, Nicolas, the first, you are a dancer. Could you tell us a few words about your practice and how you become involved with this project?
Nico.
Ok, bon, déjà je vais être clair. Ok, my English is very bad, but I work my English. Donc, je veux être le plus clair possible. Donc, je demanderai à ma très chère amie Martha de me traduire. Pas d'objection? No objection?
So I'm going to translate what Nicolas is saying.
Donc, peux-tu me répéter ta question en français, s'il te plaît?
Non, du coup, je voulais te donner la parole à toi et que, je parlais justement de l'interaction entre le groupe qui se constitue par le trajet et les individus qui font partie de ce groupe, puisque dans le film, on vous voit tous en tant que personnes qui possèdent une compétence, un savoir, une personnalité différente. Et donc, du coup, je voulais que tu te présentes déjà, que tu parles un peu de ton background de danseur, et aussi de la manière dont tu as rencontré Laure, dont tu as rencontré Martha, et comment tu es rentré dans ce projet.
D'accord. Ok, merci. Bon, déjà, je m'appelle Nicolas Faubert, a.k.a. Chrysa Style.
So my name is Nicolas Faubert, a.k.a. Chrysa Style.
J'ai commencé la danse, je me suis mis professionnellement en 2009.
I started dancing professionally in 2009.
À Elbeuf-sur-Seine.
In Elbeuf-sur-Seine.
Haute-Normandie, 76.
In Normandie.
Voilà. Et je suis venu en 2012 pour une école de classique qui s'appelle l'AID, l'Académie internationale de danse, dirigée par Nicole Sherpaz, dans le 16e.
So I moved to Paris in 2012 to join a dance academy in the 16th arrondissement.
Puis ensuite, j'ai fait 2 ans là-bas et j'ai continué ma carrière. Et là, je suis actuellement en formation à l'Organisation nationale du hip-hop pour une création d'un diplôme de passeur culturel pour le hip-hop.
So I studied there for 2 years and then I joined the National Academy of Hip Hop in a way where I'm studying to become a cultural passeur, which is quite a beautiful name. Yeah.
Donc, comment j'ai rencontré Laure? Il y a Baptiste qui travaillait pour Irvi Productions qui m'a envoyé un message un jour. Bon, il m'a appelé, il m'a harcelé, il m'a dit hey, viens, c'est tout, viens.
So how I met Laure, a caster called Baptiste, working for a production company, called me and said, you have to come, come.
Then you were 2 hours late.
Oui, j'avoue, j'ai eu 2 heures de retard, j'ai failli être viré.
I was 2 hours late and they almost fired me.
Et voilà, moi j'étais dans ma salle d'entraînement, je m'entraînais, je forme mes petits aussi à Saint-Denis avec Lydia Laouchi qui travaille pour l'association ECMART. Donc on fait pas mal de choses pour l'agglomération de Saint-Denis. Et on m'a dit, allez va voir Baptiste là, allez va à ton casting. Et voilà, je suis arrivé.
I was training kids in the north of Paris, in Saint-Denis, and then I was told, yeah, go get your casting.
Et voilà, j'ai arrêté l'entraînement, j'y suis allé. À la base, l'écriture pour moi, comme j'avais pas mes lunettes, parce que je suis handicapé visuel à la base. Après, pour le reste, on s'en fout. Ça n'empêche pas que je suis quelqu'un de normal comme vous, voilà, avec mes différences, je les accepte.
So I'm actually half blind, but it doesn't change who I am, and I'm still someone normal, and I'm a dancer.
Donc pendant le casting, voilà, on m'aidait quand même à lire mon texte et je vais pas faire le malhonnête, oui, je suis le meilleur, je suis doué, ça y est. Non, juste que ce qui m'a sauvé, c'est mon naturel, mon charisme naturel. Moi, je le vois pas, mais les gens apparemment ils le voient.
So during
ça
the
fait très plaisir.
During the casting, I was helped to read my text because I'm half blind. But I think that what saved me is my natural charisma.
Je ne vois même pas où il est, mais bon, ces personnes ici présentes ont su le voir et.
If you don't see where is my natural charisma, these two know where it is.
Et voilà, c'est comme ça que je me suis retrouvé dans la sauce.
And this is how I got into the salsa.
Et donc à l'époque, tu savais un peu dans quoi tu t'engageais. Enfin, qu'est-ce que ça a été un peu les premières étapes pour toi, justement, de commencer à travailler dans ce contexte très différent de ce que tu pouvais faire habituellement?
What was for you the first steps in the project?
Bah, à la base, moi, je connaissais pas leur provo, je savais pas qui c'était. Étant issu du hip-hop, voilà, la découverte de cette personne, c'était vraiment, bon, je vais parler cru, c'était mon dépucelage d'art contemporain.
So I didn't know Laure Prouvost at all before getting into this project, and to be very, very crude, I have to say that I lost my artistic virginity with her, as regard to contemporary art.
Parce qu'à la base, moi, j'ai connu la danse contemporaine, mais c'est trop scindé en fait. C'est le même problème qu'on a dans le hip-hop en fait. Toutes les catégories d'art sont scindées et personne communique. Donc c'est pour ça, j'ai pas pu découvrir avant, mais ça m'a fait quelque chose. Ça m'a vraiment fait grandir, ça m'a cultivé. Si je crois j'aurais pas déjà découvert le hip-hop, j'aurais été dans la merde, ça je vous le dis. Mais si j'aurais pas découvert l'art tout court, alors là, je vous donne pas cher de ma personne.
So discovering art made me really grow, but just to start with, even discovering hip-hop dance changed me, and I would have been in deep shit if I didn't encounter hip-hop dance in my life.
Et surtout par la grande porte.
And by the big door, through the big door.
Merci. Now I want to turn to you, Lafonda, Yasmine. You are one of the two musicians who composed the music for the movie with Flavien Berger as well. You come from a background applying what Laure speaks about with mélange. It is really like your music mixes a lot of different influences to give them a modern twist and also your own personal twist. I wanted to know, is it the first time that you compose music for someone, that you put your music on someone's video? And what was a bit also the same question, what was the first contact you had with Laure? What freedom did she give you? What kind of interaction did you have for composing this music?
No, it's not the first time I compose music for films, but I actually never talked to Laure. We had a middleman called Martha, who was in charge of saying not. I mean, the thing that was very particular with this one for me was that I was given the text. I was given words, and
no images.
And I didn't have access to any images, which is very peculiar for scoring film. And it was basically it. It was the text. And there was no, I mean, I asked a few questions, and then after a while I understood that that wasn't really the point, that there wasn't really, that the intention also wasn't necessarily clear on like where it would go or what you would do with it, or so there was no indications around what kind of feelings it should be or what kind of emotional colors, and that it was just the text. And so that was very interesting for me, because I think it's different to have words and just think of a song, but then if you know that the music is also on images, but then you don't really know what the images are, it just takes you somewhere else, I guess.
And were you surprised when you discovered the images, or was it maybe close to what you had imagined as well?
Well, actually, your song was on 0 images. it was on dark.
Yeah, the song was used.
It was at the end of
to close the film, yeah.
But maybe as a general texture, do you feel it's a word?
I think it fits. I think it fits for sure.
I was amazed. I mean, really, the idea was like giving the same text to you and to Flavia and see what happens without any knowledge almost of the trip, of the journey. And the text was really written. Of course, it all came from the film. It was okay. Join the queue. You gotta be queuing when you're going to see pavilions in Venice, or you're missing some shampoo because you're in a shit Airbnb. But see how it's gonna turn to live into a new translation again. It's a new translation each time, and that was fascinating to see what you two did. It's such a different manner, and it's such a, and you reacted like it was very quick. It was towards the end, like 2 weeks before the opening. I was like, oh my God, can we try to get you to do it? I think you jumped in it, which was amazing.
What was quite extraordinary on the middleman side, who in fact suggested Flavien and Yasmine Lafonda to Laure, was the incredible trust that you had in Laure without knowing her, and that she also had in you without knowing the music so well. I had this intuition it was going to function somehow, like I saw the lights at the end of this long tunnel, and it was the music. But I think the trust that you just projected onto Yasmine, onto us, and the film was really extraordinary, I thought. Yeah.
And of course, this is a special context to represent a nation. We also spoke a bit about this, Laure, the last time we spoke together when you were doing your show at Palais de Tokyo, and it has actually just been announced that you are going to represent France. You were born in the north of France, but you have been living in London for a long time, and actually your whole work is about being between two countries, between two languages. And do you feel it was also a necessity for you to extend the invitation in this specific context, or is collaboration something you have been applying before in your work?
No, but you're right. I think it had a very important element here. It's also I think it was also about this world we live in, where actually we move a lot. What do we represent? And of course, my history was important in it, but then also yours, Yasmina, being in London as well, like Nicola we all come from different histories, and we all mixed there in one moment in time and in place, and doing this exhibition, doing this. So I think this idea of also mistranslation or translation, the text we wrote as well for was with Paul Buck, who's a great poet in London. I really wanted to do a bridge between the two, of course, because of my personal history, but also about how it's mixing, how histories are mixing a lot, and we're a bit scared of each other, but we want to know about each other. It's always this kind of move, and I think with the song as well, it has this movement. We take you to the deep, and we step out, we dive in, we dive out, and that was definitely a very important part.
And actually, the whole movie is more or less about this very weird context that it is to represent a nation. And there is a part also in the movie where each character plays the role of a specific pavilion, which maybe would be a good time to see it, also to see the group dynamic we have been speaking about.
So maybe on pourrait avoir baissé la lumière, s'il vous plaît. Vous voyez tout le film en accéléré, c'est magnifique. La lumière ? Merci.
Tu vas voir, on va arriver à un endroit. The British are here.
I'm always telling us how it will be so we can imagine it.
Downstairs you need to climb, but not to heaven.
Yeah, you're right. We fuck up the past and create amazing geographies in the future.
There might be a few angry dogs, but Grandma was there, making tapestries. Fossilized in the representation of the past.
Are here. Very high. Australian.
Also here not far.
Super modern.
Mais c'est le bordel ici!
Les Français ici. Et ils creusent vers les Anglais pour rester connectés. Un tunnel.
Agnès était là aussi. Elle sera toujours là. Then, when we arrive, we will dance together, smell each other. And then, everything might start to. We will display ourselves, posing, looking at each other, To be there with you, going deeper, we will need to get transported, one after the other. There. Like this.
So the pitch of the movie is actually quite simple. It is simply that you went on a road trip and then weird things started to happen. I was also very curious about your work process. What was written at the beginning, what happened, and how did you work together as a group? Maybe Nicolas, if you want to start. Je posais la question de savoir à quel point, je demandais alors à quel point le film était écrit et quel a été un peu votre processus de travail. Enfin, comment toi tu l'as vécu, quelles étaient les étapes où tu étais avec eux, qu'est-ce qui s'est un peu passé dans tout ce hors-champ que finalement on voit pas à l'écran et qui est la source de fascination du film.
Mais si je vous le dis, c'est plus un secret. C'est ça aussi.
C'est une réponse très
If I
très
tell you,
lente.
it's not a secret anymore.
Bon, tranquille. Bah, déjà, on était tous proches parce que entre les personnes d'Arter, qui ont été justement embauchées par Martha pour pour régler un peu tout ça, l'installation, mais aussi la vidéo. Donc ils ont dû faire appel à différents intervenants parce que justement la vidéo c'était pas leur truc à la base. Et ensuite, entre les performeurs aussi, entre nous, entre les artistes, déjà, il n'y avait pas de limite, il n'y avait pas de non, moi je suis à tel grade, je suis à tel grade, déjà ça, on oublie.
So we all got very close. The artistic team, people from the production company Arter, and all the characters of the film. There was no hierarchies and no separations between who came from where and had which status.
Parce que il y en a, certes, vous les voyez pas à la caméra, mais ils ont fait le road trip avec nous. Parce que déjà on a bien mangé. Ça c'était magnifique. Mais aussi, par exemple, un coin comme Haute-Rive et un gars comme le Facteur Cheval, à la base, que les gens ils pensaient qu'il était fou, mais non, c'est un modèle de détermination. C'est le gars, tous les jours, il s'est attelé à la tâche, donc en même temps, ça m'a cultivé. Surtout, j'étais avec des personnes. Je les connais ni d'Adam, je les connais ni d'Eve. Sauf, peut-être Kader, parce que on l'a vu sur YouTube, et il y a un grand à lui qui est breaker, qui est un des premiers breakers en France, Rajdi des Actuelles Forces, que j'ai découvert dans mon parcours. Sinon, le reste, voilà. On était là et on devait vivre ensemble. Moi, ça me dérange pas, moi. Je suis comme un poisson dans l'eau. En plus un poulpe.
So I didn't know anyone before the project started, maybe except Kader, who's the magician who has a large group of followers around France. But then I felt good with everybody, a bit like a fish in water, maybe more like an octopus in the water.
Qu'est-ce que je peux dire de plus ? Parce que, en fait, là, ce que vous me demandez de faire, c'est scinder tout un long moment en quelques petits textes.
It's hard to describe in a few words such a long moment.
Je pense que je vais oublier certaines choses, mais je vais vous raconter ce que moi j'ai là, dans le... là, tout de suite à l'instant.
Mais
les mots
peut-être aussi, peut-être pour préciser un peu l'intitulé de la question, c'est vrai que du coup, je trouvais ça intéressant quand toi, à la fin de là, tu parlais justement d'interprétation et de cette liberté que Laure vous avait donnée. Oui. Et du coup, moi, je voulais savoir un peu peut-être toi, quel a été ton apport par rapport à ton personnage, comment tu t'es retrouvé dans le film, tu vois ce que je veux dire ?
À la base, moi, comme je vous ai dit, j'étais là comme ça. Juste, je proposais des idées de temps en temps et elles avaient déjà elles savaient déjà ce qu'elles voulaient. Vu que elles avaient sélectionné les lieux, elles avaient sélectionné tous les endroits, la production. Sauf que elles nous laissaient quand même une petite porte ouverte ah bah tiens, propose ça, tiens, pourquoi pas ça.
So there was a pre-existing frame for us because we knew already what we wanted. The places were already predetermined. The script was written, but there was a small door open for us to enter and to propose new things into the project.
Parce que son talent, en vrai, alors, c'est de pouvoir faire confiance justement à l'autre. Parce que moi, je m'aurais pas fait confiance. Il y a des trucs que j'aurais jamais su que je suis capable de faire. Voilà, c'est ça vraiment aussi qui a été franchement favorable à l'énergie positive de ce projet.
So Laura's talent is really to trust the people she collaborates with and to let them grow in this sense, right? And that really changed me. Yeah.
Merci Nico. Mais c'est vrai que c'était des moments ensemble avec il y avait des écrits, il y avait there was some things written, but at the same time it was very much should we dance? Nicola, you were dancing all the time anyway. I couldn't tell you what to do. I mean, it was just like, and we had to. It was about also letting. It was also when we started. It was we had an idea that it'd be nice to bring from different points of view. We had Victor, who's un prof de maternelle qui fait des coiffes incroyables. C'était plein de points de vue différents qui rentraient. Donc, we had to have all these different points of view, from Victor, who's a teacher in the school, to Nicola, and how all of these points of view talk to each other, touch each other, and live together in some way in a kind of condensed moment, and then letting this really happen with a structure. It's a bit like a school, but then you go off, like there's a structure. But what was magic, it was at the beginning was a kind of street casting, where we who wants to come go on a road trip with us, and it would be nice to have a nudist, it would be nice to have a dancer, it would be nice to have a contortionist, it would be nice to have a teacher, but not especially high professionals or anything. It's more like who wants to do it almost, and then leave a lot of freedom to each other as we went along.
And maybe what was important in the composition of this group was the generational aspect, because I think, Laure, you really wanted to bring people from different generations, so from a young 20-year-old acrobat to an older Françoise, who's in her late 80s and is a retired radio producer, and also the notions of identity. So in the casting, it was clear for us that we wanted people who come from different backgrounds with a connection in France. So Nico, with your background, you were born in Gabon, and you're métis, so you're mixed raced. And we had, Bamar from Senegal, but we also had Sam, who's a dancer from Australia, and some people from France, and born or raised somewhere else, who moved, who came back, who kind of were carrying this history of contemporary France as well, and that was quite important, right?
And maybe to continue with you, Martha, from the point of view of the curator, how did you decide what you were going to show to the public of this road trip, also by maybe using performance and using activation?
Yeah, so definitely. Well, I think from the beginning, when Laure and I started to work on this project, at least for me, it was clear that Laure was Laure is an extraordinary filmmaker, and I thought that we should push the element of the film and moving image, and have the film as a central piece, with collaborations with musicians, and then we knew there was going to be an installation, because Laure's work is very often composed of films and in connection with the space and installation and objects, but it wasn't. I mean, it was kind of clear, and maybe we said many times it was clear at some meetings, but it wasn't so clear always. But then I think over the course of the year, and especially I feel when we filmed basically, so the road trip was filmed in two parts. The first part, we started in the banlieue, and then we went to the north, Palais du Facteur Cheval, Marseille. So that was November of last year. And then in February, there was the second part of the shoot, and we went to Venice. And then there was this movement of arriving into the pavilion that you see in the film. And I think the moment we saw, like literally and physically, the performers, the characters entering the pavilion, we understood that really the crucial element was going to be the performative element, right? And having the performance kind of coming out of the film and making the space alive, right?
It was so beautiful to have this empty building with just us in it, and I was like, this is the most beautiful piece. I mean, we don't need to even show a film, or we don't need to. Well, and that's again, the trip was the arrival, and this thing was like this. It was just so beautiful to just embody the space, see these white walls. It was Jules on doing was it like un trapeze, a trapeze, and just being there. There's the cat from the other pavilion coming and eating asking for some food, pigeons coming in. All these elements were just beautiful in themselves. So that was it. That was good enough, and that was the end of the piece in some way. And then, but then also we realized, that it would be really, really great to have the people we met on the way that present in some ways, either dancing in the pavilion or just welcoming you, showing you the way towards the back of the pavilions and things like that.
Should we look at the extract?
So maybe we can watch the end of the film. That is the arrival at the pavilion, and wait, it's coming. Okay, it's here. And Yasmin's song at the end. Okay, on peut baisser la lumière, s'il vous plaît?
This. You're part of this. We heard you coming. You ran to the airport. Les chaussures. Vous êtes arrivés avec nous. You then entered this room and got trapped like an insect inside a flower. So great you're here. We brought you some cushion. So now... See the show! Vieni a vedere lo spettacolo! Open the door!
I lost myself on a cool, damp night. Found myself in that misty light. Was hypnotized by a strange delight.
Certainly Nassimane.
Under a lilac tree, I made wine from that lilac tree. Put my heart in its recipe. It may see what I want to see, be what I want to be. When I think more than I want to think, do things I never should do. I drink much more than I ought to drink, because it brings me back you.
Dormir, sommeil profond.
We smell the
jasmine and orange trees, and hear succulents raining our eyes. I want to be you out there.
ready to touch the world. You bet. You are flying above it all. We are like birds who belong to no nations now. in the deep sea. I will draw you to the deep, where you never dream to sleep. My heart in the blue, my arms wide with glue. I am me. You are you. You are me. From the depths of my heart to the depths of the sea, from high in the clouds to my brain sick, from the tips of your toes to the tips
Et voilà.
So now that we are already several months after the opening, there is still 1 month left to go, so it's probably also like a good moment to assess how the pavilion is also living on beyond this first presentation, and what strategies you wanted to use to keep the life in the pavilion.
Well, I've got all these beautiful tentacles still doing their thing. So, and I think in terms of collaboration or liquid collaboration, I was just thinking as we watch. I mean, it's as much the collaboration is with the building, is with the cars, is with us here, is with the audience. It's a constant collaboration, and the liquidness was about all these elements, not just us as people, but also everything that came along. And so I think the building here was important. It was really collaborating with it. Or how do you? And I guess the next, the next step is to. I think what I hope is in some ways that this film, of course, lives sometime in history, either you like it or hate it, or the installation stays, and it's a suggestion to be a tentacle and touch and feel the world very immediately like this. I think of this idea of it exists outside its own space, and I hope it does in some ways. And when art and life there's not such divisions. The work lives through the memory of it, but vice versa. The life enter the pavilion as you come in from your different background. You have the spaghetti you had just before. What's it gonna do? And then in terms of really that representation of the pavilion, I think it's gonna travel in a few places. So we need to get our horses ready and and get the trucks to follow us. But yeah.
And Nicolas, you are the performer who was the most present in the pavilion. So you were there for several months. And how did you experience people reacting to the pavilion? What reaction did they tell you? What discussion did you have with them? Pardon, j'ai pas traduit. Non, je voulais...
Si, c'est bon, je compris. On est d'accord, tu me demandais, là, bon, je suis dans le pavillon pendant 7 mois, qu'est-ce que je fais là-bas? Comment ça se passe, les gens, les vidéos?
Les interactions que
Ok. Bah déjà, c'est bien, moi j'aime bien Venise. Déjà,
I like
j'y
Venice,
mange
it's cool.
bien.
I eat well.
Bon, même si j'ai perdu du poids.
I lost weight though.
Déjà, entre accueillir les personnes, déjà parce que on me laisse une certaine liberté, parce que certes je suis là-bas pour la danse, mais on voit différentes choses. Entre aider les gardes-salles, pour commencer, parce que des fois oui ils sont débordés, parce que la biennale c'est un truc de malade, c'est le truc de... On a minimum 2000 personnes par jour, je me gratte la tête. Entre-temps, déjà, vous avez la première salle tout en bas, donc vous devez faire le tour. Ok, donc I show you the way, come with me, je vous indique.
Yeah, so I have different roles. In fact, I'm at the pavilion every day. I'm welcoming people, and I'm showing them the way. And it's quite intense at the pavilion because we have an average of over 2,000 people per day, sometimes over 5,000 per day as well. So you're taking them around the first room, you were saying?
Okay. Donc on arrive dans la première salle qui est une dédicace à, au grand-père de Laure.
The first room is an homage to Laura's grandpa.
Mais je vous en dirai pas plus sur cette salle, il faut venir voir.
But I won't tell you more, you have to go.
Puis ensuite, après avoir pris les escaliers, nous avons la salle où il y a la mer, où il y a une représentation de la mer et de ce qui se passe actuellement entre le réchauffement climatique, le gaspillage, le plastique, et surtout aussi une dédicace à la communication, parce que on est en 2019, aujourd'hui, on a des smartphones dernière technologie, tout ce que vous voulez, mais on n'arrive toujours pas à communiquer correctement. Donc elle a mis l'accent dessus.
C'est vrai.
Well, basically, he's giving you a virtual tour of the exhibition right now. Huh? So the first room with the resin, the reflection on global warming, on ecology, and on communication through smartphones and other devices. And then?
Ensuite, après, cette partie en général, elle est pleine, elle est blindée. Je vous dis, c'est grave.
Ensuite, people, it's crazy there.
Ensuite, alors, nous avons le cœur, le ventre du poulpe ou la tête, je sais pas parce qu'il a des tentacules ou ses cerveaux sont dedans.
The belly of the octopus.
Où justement, il y a la salle du film avec
film is projected.
Une tapisserie, elle est magique. J'aimerais bien dormir dessus, prendre une couette et.
With a tapestry. Well, actually. Attends, je te coupe. Justement, tu dors pas dessus, mais tu danses devant.
Je danse.
On peut peut-être regarder, non, une vidéo.
Plutôt Garance qui danse devant.
Garance, qui est là d'ailleurs. Et ouais, on a les deux d'ailleurs. On va vous montrer une petite vidéo. I'm sorry, I'm going to show you a video of Nico dancing in the pavilion. Just a few seconds, anyway.
Et ça, c'était la salle tapisserie, la salle côté gauche, left.
Et peut-être je montre, maybe I show the other video of Garance, also dancing. Hold on, Garance is here. Garance is one of the performers who's actually sitting in the audience. I see you, deep see you, over there.
Et ça, c'est la salle à droite.
So this is the right room.
Et là, Garance, tu t'es juste mis à siffler comme ça. It was so nice. C'est des choses qui arrivent comme ça dans le pavillon, qui se font d'elles-mêmes. Hein. C'était des beaux moments de réponse avec le chat. Il y a le son du chat qui. There's the cats pouring, and then Garance just started like that to whistle to the situation like a little bird, and you're by the cooling system, which you've been carrying in the film of cooling system for global warming. So this idea of a little shower we should all carry around soon because it's gonna get hot. So, but you're there whistling like as if nothing's happening, and all these moments were just little wonderful moments that happened without planning. You know, more like being in the space and responding to the situation.
And so, how did you decide what you were going to keep for the movie? I guess it was quite a difficult selection process in the end.
Yeah, there's like hundreds and hundreds of hours, and that was tough. It's also because of the time limits. I mean, we we went for these big road trips over 3 weeks and another 2 weeks. So I got a bit bulimic with filming and then just taking the essence of what really was necessary. But even just watching it was in a few months was a bit too short. But I had a lot of help of points of view. Nick, my husband, looking, Marta looking, people. It was really a group. It was produced by all these voices. Of course, I had a vision, I think, but it's also taking in points of view and letting go. Also trusting. I like trusting my surrounding and what everyone can help. But at the end, the film was like each sequence was like an hour, and I knew it shouldn't be more than half an hour. But how to bring it to the essence, and I had a lot of help at the time.
I think the last 2 weeks before the opening were so intense we couldn't sleep at night. We were just like hearing the voices of the film. We were really possessed by this film, and I remember especially the last days where the sound mixing almost, and we worked with this really nice sound engineer who was so incredibly patient with us, because Laure, I remember just the way you were talking to him and you were telling him, but this sound, it is like a tree, it's like an object, and he would look at me being like, what does she mean in fact? And it was like an interesting curatorial
translation of sound.
Translation
how do you articulate what you like? When we're in the Palais Idéal, it's like you're in the belly of the octopus. You're in the depth of the sea, the depth of life. In some ways, you're in darkness. You just have a few faces, and it needed to be heavy. Like the sound is like, we need the whole room to be like. And the first time it really didn't work. He did his own, and so you knew you had to rework and work again together and to pull out some elements and like everything, editing as well. You pull moments. There's a lot of moments that are not interesting as well. And like this.
And so maybe now a question for you, La Founder, as well. It's true that the sound in Laure's work is also very important. So I guess it's something you also have been looking at. And so how would you say that your process, that is also very physical with a lot of textures, could be compared maybe to a process of working with images? Or I feel there are a lot of similarities between your own practice and the practice of a videographer working with sound, from this idea of putting textures together.
You also make your own videos for your,
I was really fascinated by the sound of the film, actually. I think that really, like the differences in the spatialization of the sound, the closeness, almost like claustrophobia of some of the sounds in the film, and then the things that even if you're in an enclosed space, suddenly you hear something that makes you feel like you're outside, or you're like all these. There's a lot of kind of like associate. Like it's really interesting, and I mean the relationship between image and the sound is like a fascinating thing, because you can do the exercise and you can put Laure's film and choose a track from whoever, and like it would be obviously a totally different film, right? So wait, what's your question? Sorry.
No, maybe like the similarities you see in the processes between approaching sound
and image.
And yeah, how you work with sound, with textures, because I feel it's also in your practice bringing old and new and east and west together.
But I also I don't think, for me in music, the process of images and sound is not different at all. It's most of the music that I make comes from images way before it comes from actual sounds. It's trying to describe scenes of things that are happening, of relationships between people. What does that sound like, or what does it? So point of departure of the music is actually, in fact, a lot of the time, images, if that makes sense.
And so what was your impression when you saw the piece you had composed in this setting? I guess it also changed a lot, and it was this idea of maybe letting go that everyone spoke about with Laure, but also in the other way.
It was interesting that it was the closing, that it was like it was kind
you
of like...
You also the last...
You didn't know it was going to be the closing.
In. No, I don't think anyone knew really until it happened.
No idea.
I don't know. But yeah, no, so it just looked like a little paper boat, you know, that's like leaving in the sea, like waving, you know.
I feel people leave the pavilion with your voice.
And really, yeah.
And maybe something interesting to say is that you might be releasing the song, so in a way now the song is yours, and you're taking it to a next stage, you're performing it on stage, right?
Yeah, I've been performing it on stage, and people really, really are into it. And so yeah, it's gonna have its own life, I guess, now.
It's also out of the screen, in a way.
Yeah, for sure. But I definitely cried a lot during that film, and I was really...
Oh, me? Us too.
Sorry.
No,
so did we?
It wasn't... No, it definitely isn't... It was definitely not sadness. And it was also really... it was a type of tears that are very specific and confusing because they don't come from a specific place. You know, I wasn't crying because I was sad or happy. I just got heavily pinched. And I remember I was with Christelle at the pavilion, and I was like looking at the film and everything was okay. And at some point I started sobbing, and I was like, what the fuck? And I looked at her and she was sobbing as well. It's very it's interesting when it's not clear, because I think that images can do that to you sometimes, be a bit fascist on the kind of emotions that they put on you. It's like showing like a kid, you know, in a war or whatever, and it's like, be sad. And I really don't like that relationship with images that are kind of imposing emotions. And I think this film is absolutely not doing that. And yet it pinches you somewhere, just about feeling human or something very like primal or something, I don't know. Yeah.
And I think that that the thing we expected less, in a way the least, but that really struck me the most was the emotion of because you know you work so hard on a project for several months, for a year. It's really like a marathon that ends with a sprint. It's sprint, it's an installation, you arrive after months of working, and in Venice, and nothing is done. Like the pavilion is empty, and you have to build a world there. That's literally how we felt, because we built and we installed, of course, and we dug, and then suddenly everything rushes and it opens, and the first, you know, visitors leave the pavilion with tears in their eyes, and 2 people, 5 people, 50, 300, 3,000. I mean, they were not all crying, 3,000 people, thank God, but still, it was...
I open a center next to it.
Yeah, we're gonna like do a big psychological support French institute, think about it. No. But anyway, that's something that personally really, really left a very strong imprint on my perception of this pavilion. I don't know you, Laure, but you were floating anyway.
No, I'm still very liquid. I don't have any thoughts working. But yeah, I think it's true. You can't see the piece till you show it. I mean, and it's that exchange and whatever, and you lose control and whatever. But of course, you try to work on sharing something or translating something which is maybe very vague or very clear. But I think Yasmin having this idea of sound and image is definitely something that we both work a lot. How do we translate? I think with sound, for me, it works really with the subconscious. It really enters you from much deeper than an image. Image is, it's almost easy. So together, they have this kind of, they can provoke each other constantly and not feed one another, but add another layers. And that's definitely, I think we both work a lot on sound in some way and what it does. And that was definitely something we spend a lot of energy on. And, like, anyway, I think it's a long.
And so, did you have any reaction from the public, from the spectators, that you were surprised, or what was because I guess it was such a personal work, which was really about building a micro community, and how did you feel that it translated to other people? What were their reaction, maybe, or like what was it what you expected, or did you feel surprised?
I'm not sure. I think I didn't expect so much. I think you just make something. And
because you spoke about really also giving the audience a place in this movie.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think everyone has its own, but you also, that week of opening is really intense. You're questioning, you just produce something, you're not sure yourself what you've done, and of course you get a lot of emotion pass through you, but you don't know. I don't know, it's very moment of such an intensity, but it's kind of, but of course it touches you when someone says, "Oh, it really did touch me," or the opposite, "Oh, I just can't bother." It's just like, it's many emotions, but you're definitely very frontal there with the situation.
So maybe on this note, it would be a good occasion to open to questions in the public. Est-ce que quelqu'un aurait des questions dans l'audience?
This evening, for making the effort in this busy week. Any tentacle questions? If not, we can carry on, have a drink and talk.
Voilà, on peut aller aussi aller prendre un verre si personne n'a des questions.
Aucune question. No question.
Même pas, Nicolas.
Même pas. Bon, c'est pas grave. Hein. Bon, en tout cas, ça fait 7 mois, bientôt 7. Je suis bien à Venise, ça se passe bien, on fait du monde. Les gens, quand ils sortent du pavillon, ils me disent « Ah, c'est mon pavillon préféré !» Oh là là, c'est magnifique. Parce qu'en vrai, les meilleurs moments, c'est quoi? C'est les réactions des gens quand ils sortent. Alors, vous savez tout de suite s'ils aiment pas, parce que y en a... Oh, mais non, c'est n'importe quoi, c'est de la merde. Je dis oui, mais il y en a, oui, effectivement, ils sortent, ils sont marqués. Parce que, quelque part, ça nous permet de nous évader, en fait. Parce qu'en vrai, on est là, oui, le monde, oui, il faut dire ce qui est, ça se barre en couille. Oui, ça se barre en cacahuète avec tout ce qui se passe. Mais sauf que là, on a un moment, juste 28 minutes, 1 heure pour souffler, pour se dire oh, j'existe. Mais et puis qu'est-ce qu'on s'en fout du reste pour l'instant.
Merci beaucoup, merci à vous tous.
Thank you.
Merci
everybody.
Ingrid,
Merci.
beaucoup.
Let's have a drink.
Thank you.
Bon appétit.
Vous voulez des salades? Ouais, des salades là. Salade.